Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our TEFL module session for PEP 3. So, today we are opening Unit 1, which focuses on teaching language aspects. So, for Lecture 2, we are going to explore one of the most critical stages in early language education, which is teaching reading to young EFL learners. Let's break down the essential steps to guide our pupils from simple sound recognition all the way to independent reading. Before we begin, let's look at our roadmap for today. We will start with a brief introduction to the nature of reading, followed by an overview of the science of reading framework. From there, we will unpack the big five pillars of reading instruction, starting with phonemic awareness as the foundation, and phonics, moving through fluency and vocabulary, and finishing with text comprehension. We'll then wrap up our session with a quick multiple choice answer or question quiz to check our understanding. So let's start with a foundational truth. Processing written language, whether receptively through reading or productively through writing, is an incredibly intricate, complex cognitive task. It is well established that reading is not a single automatic action, rather, it is a complex activity built upon a large number of both motor and cognitive skills working together or simultaneously. So this brings us to the science of reading, which serves as our professional guide. It provides the scientifically proven insights into the best ways to support students as they learn to decode and process a text. It's important to remember that while there are many research-backed strategies we can implement in our primary classrooms, there is not just one single rigid method for teaching a child to read. At its core, the science of reading generally follows a famous framework known as the simple view of reading, which was first proposed by Goff and Tunmer back in 1986. So, this model states that true reading comprehension is the direct result of combining two distinct elements: word recognition, which is very important, and language comprehension. In short, when our students can successfully use decoding strategies to read words fluently and they actually understand what these words mean orally, then we say that comprehension naturally takes place. So, what specific subskills do we need to teach to make this happen? To answer that, we look at the five big ideas in the beginning of reading, originally synthesized by the National Reading Panel. As you can see from this pyramid structure, reading instruction is built from the ground up. It starts at the foundational level with phonological awareness and phonic knowledge. Once those are secure, or these two are secure, we build upward through reading fluency and vocabulary, and eventually reaching the peak, which is text comprehension. So let's examine these one by one. So this is the first skill, or phonological awareness, our very first pillar uh, in this pyramid. So this is purely auditory. It is an ability to recognize and manipulate the spoken sounds within words, and it must be explicitly taught and modeled by the teacher. Through this training, students learn to perceive syllables, realize that written letters represent spoken units, and isolate individual phonemes. So, by explicitly showing them how to connect these abstract sounds to letters, we generally enhance their decoding abilities and we set them up for early success. Now let's look at this umbrella. Okay, to keep this concept straight, think of phonological awareness as a broad umbrella. Underneath this umbrella, we have two interconnected but distinct components. On one side is phonemic awareness, which is strictly about hearing and isolating the individual sounds in spoken words. On the other side is phonics, or the graphophonic connection, where we actively link these or those auditory sounds to actual written symbols. The second skill in this pyramid is phonics and word recognition. This instructional method explicitly develops a student's capacity to recognize the relationship between letters and sounds. Between letters and sounds. This is phonics. In typical phonics lesson, we teach students to identify individual phonemes, to associate them directly with written graphemes, and blend them together to read a whole word. Conversely, we also teach them how to segment a spoken word into individual sounds to help them write and spell. So, this fundamental concept is widely known as the alphabetic principle. The alphabetic principle. So, what is a grapheme first? So, when teaching phonics, we introduce the concept of a grapheme, which is the smallest written unit. So, the grapheme is the smallest written unit, which represents a sound. Sometimes a grapheme is just one letter, but often it consists of multiple letters. It could be two letters, for example, such as digraphs. Take the sh or sh digraph representing the sound sh in words like shop or fish. So a great teaching tip here is to use physical shushing gesture by the teacher to help a young effort learners anchor the sound. Similarly, we can use the same thing for the digraph in chair or lunch. We can exaggerate the ch sound using the fun ch 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 train noise accompanied by clear visuals like flashcards. We have also trigraphs. So as our pupils progress, we introduce even more complex patterns. For instance, we show them the tree graphs like IGH, which uses three letters to make the single I sound in night or light. We also teach them vowel digraphs like A, like used in rain or paint. So a highly effective tip to teach these sounds to EFL learners is to pair these patterns with short, catchy song, like singing "Rain, Rain, Go Away" to make this decoding rule memorable and engaging for young learners. Ultimately, phonics is all about structural rules. A perfect example of this is teaching the silent E rule through an interactive lesson we like to call the magic E saves the day. By using the magnetic letters or the whiteboard, we can physically show students how adding that silent E changes a word entirely, turning cap into cape, or bit into bite, or cut into cute. Here is a great visual aid you can use as teacher with your young pupils. It clearly illustrates how the magic E sits silently at the very end of a word but stretches its power backward, making the short vowel before it take on its long vowel sound or says its name. So tap changes to tape, kit transforms into kite, and a bare cube becomes a geometric cube. So it makes systematic linguistic rule feel like, or a rigid rule feel like a fun game for young learners. Okay, so why this is important? First, it helps young learners decode words when reading, and number two, it improves spelling skills, knowing when to add silent e and and builds phonics understanding for reading fluency. Now let's move to the skill number three in this pyramid, which is fluency. Fluency is defined as a student's ability to read words accurately at an appropriate pace and with correct expression. So, as you can see, we have three conditions. To successfully foster this skill, we must provide our pupils with regular opportunities to read and reread connected texts whether those are simple sentences, paragraphs, or short passages. So, our ultimate goal here is not just automatic word recognition, it is expressive reading that naturally mirrors an understanding of the text. So, how do we practice this in the primary classroom? We use two primary strategies. The first one, we use teaching modeling. What is teaching modeling? It is a process where the teacher reads a text aloud to demonstrate ideal pacing, intonation, and emotional expression. Second, we use pair practice, where students buddy up to mimic those exact expressive techniques together. You can see a fantastic scaffolding technique on this side. We have the students build up a sentence step by step. For example, like do you like, yes, this is the next one, yes, do you like to play football? This builds rhythm and eliminates hesitant word by word reading. However, there is a fluency misconception that we have to pay attention to. However, as teachers, we must look out for a major pitfall here. Teachers should absolutely not focus strictly on speed. This means a good reader is not a speedy reader. As Marcel pointed out in 2011, fluency has unfortunately evolved in many schools to mean speed reading, which is a misconception. This completely misses the true intent of the good reading. So, the ultimate objective of reading is always to make sense of what is read, not to see how fast a child can race through the words on the page. Okay, our fourth pillar now is vocabulary. For students to successfully advance in text comprehension, they must possess a strong vocabulary foundation. So while we can explicitly introduce new words using direct instructional tools, vocabulary is also heavily acquired implicitly through context clues and broad exposure to different texts. It operates as a continuous loop. A strong vocabulary helps a pupil understand the text, and the more they read text in context, the stronger their vocabulary becomes. Finally, we reach the summit, text comprehension, which is the summit of the pyramid. So, without fundamental ability to decode words through phonics, students cannot achieve fluency. Without fluency, it becomes incredibly difficult for them to track the sequence of words they are reading, and without vocabulary, full meaning is lost. To bring all of this together, we must explicitly teach comprehension strategies, that is, activating background knowledge, setting a clear purpose before reading, evaluating the text, and hosting structured discussions. This is a practical application from the Algerian primary school context. To see how these pillars manifest in real world practice, let's look at an official example of an Algerian primary school assessment of learning outcomes of the known by the teachers as the ALO, where you have the fifth grade or year five pupils are presented with a short reading comprehension text about a character named Islam, his school, and his hometown of Bufarik. To successfully answer tasks like checking the right answer, filling out information tables, or underlining correct grammar structures, our pupils must apply the exact reading skills that we have discussed. Reading techniques. To present our students for assessments like the one we just saw, we must equip them with actionable reading techniques. We must teach them skimming, which is reading a text rapidly to capture the general theme or the main topic. We teach them scanning, which means looking through text quickly to spot highly specific pieces of information, like a name, a job, or a number. So we promote active reading where students make notes, ask questions, and summarize parts of the text to look in comprehension. Obviously, skimming differs from scanning, but let's look at this table from the British Council. So this excellent graphic from the British Council clearly breaks down the operational differences between these two primary techniques. As it notes, skimming is perfect for pre-reading tasks where you don't need detailed attention or every single word, focusing instead on structural layout and overall speed. On the other hand, scanning is your go-to strategy for answering specific exam questions like true or false tasks, where the objective is solely to zero in on specific words, facts, or lexes while ignoring irrelevant data. So this is it. This is the pyramid, and we have examined together the five components of this pyramid. And now that we have covered the entire theoretical framework, let's transition into our interactive check. We have a few multiple choice questions prepared to see how well we've captured the core instructional principles from today's lecture about the science of reading and the big five pillars. So we have question number one. According to the simple view of reading proposed by Goff and Turner, which two components must combine to result in reading comprehension? And you have four options. So think about it. You have also another question. Number two, which of the following best describes phonological awareness as presented in the lecture? So again, you have four options and only one is correct. The third question is related to the definition of the grapheme. The fourth question related to the definition of fluency. And obviously you have four options and only one is correct. And the last question is related to the techniques of reading and one of the sub-techniques of, of reading. So these are the five pillars that we have examined today, starting from the foundation of phonological awareness, moving to phonic knowledge, reading fluency, vocabulary, and reaching the peak, which is comprehension. For more reading, you can refer to the references in the comments. Thank you very much for your attention and feel free to send me your questions or insights about the lecture. Thank you very much for your attention again.